If you're in the UK, good evening. If you're in the US or Canada, good afternoon. Or if you're in Australia or Japan, good morning. On today's show, I've spoken to referees, I've spoken to wrestlers, I've spoken to announcers, I've spoken to a lot of people, but I've never actually spoken to a queen, so I'm kind of excited for this. And I see the smile there.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm glad to be the opportunity for you to speak to royalty.
Of course it is. But first, intern, roll the intro. And please welcome my guest, the one and only Queen Gia from the Kill City Cup. How are we?
I'm doing well. How are we doing, Liam?
I am very, very well, thank you. Obviously, it's a little bit like wet weather, but you know what? We're still going. We're still going strong.
We're staying inside and we're keeping nice and comfortable.
Of course. And how's your week been, by the way?
It was really good. I got to celebrate a friend's birthday, check out their new place. Pretty good.
And is it a nice place?
Yeah, they got a really sweet little spot now.
Are you just saying that because you're here, or deep down you're thinking, hey, we could do better?
Nah. Their place is nice. I like it.
But yeah, of course, you was obviously on the All Lifting Wrestling show earlier on, obviously with Luke, obviously the producer of the Kill City Cup. So today it's more about getting to know you a little bit better. So are we excited?
I'm excited.
Of course. So as I mentioned there, obviously you're part of obviously the Kill City Cup. Now, how did this whole start? How did you obviously begin doing the Kill City Cup?
Well, it all started with me being a weirdo and liking costuming. So, if it wasn't for my tendency to wear a costume anytime I get an opportunity, I would not have met Luke Robert and all of this wouldn't have unfolded the way that it did. But it does turn out that I love dressing up, and Tampa Bay loved to celebrate Pirates for all of I don't know, all of spring, like all of January, February, March. It's just pirates, 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 Gasparilla. Everyone dresses up as pirates. So I happen to be dressed up as a pirate this day. Captain America backpack on my back. And it's Luke's friend, Kevin, that grabs me. And he's talking to me because he noticed the backpack because we're all nerds here. And he's like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm like, yeah. And we're just shooting the shit and just chatting. And we get to a point where I'm like, oh, yeah, I do some wrestling. And he's like, have you met my friend Luke? So then I get introduced to Luke and we're talking about wrestling. We're talking about money. We're talking about creating some stuff. And that was about 3 years before Kill City actually came into fruition. Before then, it was like an idea that Luke had. He would talk about like wrestling, but post apocalyptic, biohazard, like a wasteland type of scenario, but he wants it to be like soul stealing, fireballs, electric shocks. Like, I'm like, it sounds like a fighting game, but also pro wrestling. So I would talk to him about like Killer Instinct or Tekken or everybody knows Mortal Kombat, so we like to describe it as Mortal Kombat meets WWE. And we don't got the big crowd. This is a very intimate scene that makes it feel like we've brought these wrestlers here to fight for their lives for an opportunity to get their wish, whatever they kind of deal that they can work out with Mr. Kill to see if they can get what they want out of that tournament. It's definitely unique. It's not like anything. I think the closest you can find to it is probably Lucha Underground, but this takes it even more with like a retro feel to it.
I love the fact that you answered the question starting by saying, I'm a weirdo.
Yes.
And I love the fact you said fighting games. Obviously, I was growing up with Tekken myself, so I kind of love that little bit. What's your favorite Tekken character?
I Well, I was playing with any of the female characters before Tekken 6 Dark Resurrection. Then they added Lily Rochefort to the roster, and she's
Mm.
my favorite now. I like the Kiki characters, and it's very similar to Orchid from Killer Instinct, where she does a lot of kicking attacks.
Yeah, I kind of obviously love all your old school ones like your Jin, obviously Paul Phoenix and stuff like that.
Oh
They're
yeah.
they're two of my obviously favorites. Talk about obviously the creating obviously the character of Queen Gia because it's very very unique.
Thank you. It's kind of like I just wanted a costume. That's it's kind of where it all starts for me. Like I like costumes, I like dressing up, and I like Dragon Ball Z. So that's what the little shoulder pads are from Dragon Ball Z. And I happen to know a lot of very creative and amazingly talented people. I got with Starly Sinful, the owner of Spellbound Stitches, and I was like, let's put something together. I want an original like costume, something that is me, something like I want to cosplay my character. Like if I was a really cool like fantasy character, what would she be like? And I would send her a bunch of references, pictures, and we kind of threw this together. Like I told her specifically, I want the shoulders. I want it to be a one piece. I want it to have like leg garters. Definitely, I want to work with purples. I didn't want any blacks whatsoever. And this is like the brainchild of me and Starly Sinful, and I love it. We're already talking about doing something else. The little shoulder parts come off so they can be slapped right onto the next outfit.
And what's the next outfit planned, or is that a secret?
Oh man, I don't know. It's not like nothing's been drawn up, but I know that I wanna keep the shoulders because they make every nerd's heart sing. They when they see this, like the ones that know that have watched Dragon Ball Z and they see the shoulder pads, they're like, "Oh my god." So just like eliciting that type of reaction from people, they're like, "Oh, that's a thing I love." I'm like, "I know, me too."
The inner nerd, as you just said.
Just like that
Uh,
fun of cosplaying. So I do the cosplay as well, and now I get to cosplay a character that is obscure and that is something that I created. So that's fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, obviously, in the Kill City Cup, they've obviously got some big names. Obviously, Brian Cage, Matt Seidel, Natalia Markova. What was it like, obviously, filming with these people?
I kept myself like up on the second floor next to Mr. Kill almost the entire time. Um, the dressing room was tight, so I didn't get to hang out in the dressing room. So I wasn't spending a whole lot of time socializing with these big stars, but being on set and being in the same production as these big names was just surreal to me. Like I knew Brian Cage because
Hmm.
I was watching Lucha Underground, so sharing the same building as Brian Cage was just like, how do I keep it together? So it was easy because I was like far away, but we still took the group picture in the end. I was real close to him, and he's massive, man. He's just big amount of dude, and he just was so professional on the set, just you know, on board. Everyone was on board for this craziness that was kind of like thrown together, no script whatsoever. Just like, hey, you want to do something wild? And being pro wrestlers and performers, we're like, yeah, we want to do something wild.
Now, obviously, when I was listening to the show earlier, apparently you've obviously done a bit of wrestling yourself. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I blame Luke a lot. I was already doing a little bit of wrestling, but more on like the custom side where clients will request a match and then I do the match and then someone sells it. But he somehow got it in his head that I should be in a pro wrestling show and put me in the Wayne Van Dyke show, a tribute show and asked me if I would take a pile driver. Like, yeah, sure, I'll take a pile driver while wearing a wig. So I did. I took a pile driver while wearing a wig. No sold the pile driver. Wig fell off and I rolled out of the ring. It's like, I don't know why he thought that I could do this, but he's always been there, like cheering me on, being like, hey, you can do this. Like, there's no reason why you can't do this. And I actually enjoy the performing aspects of pro wrestling, and it makes sense that I got into it because I've always wanted to do something athletic or movement wise. I wanted to do burlesque for a bit, but that was a lot of cattiness, I guess, and no money, no money whatsoever. So then pro wrestling is like, hey, you get to do costumes, you get to perform, people watch you, you move, and I get money. Not so much in the pro wrestling side, but like if like the custom matches will give me a decent amount of money, and then on top of that, I get to learn how to do the pro wrestling side of it. And Luke will put me in a show, and I know a few other people that will put me in a show just because they're really, really nice. They're very nice people, because I'm the kind of person that doesn't believe that I should be on a pro wrestling ring, like in a show, because I haven't trained anywhere near as hard as any of these people. But I love an opportunity to perform. So when they give it to me, I'm like, if you think so, like, I'll go out there and make a complete ass of myself. I don't care.
Absolutely. And how did people react when you obviously sell the pile driver? Because I imagine everybody were like, okay.
I mean, it's not something that I like could read the audience while I was doing it. The video's on YouTube, so we could probably get a better gauge from that. But I don't think they really cared about what I was doing there. It was like 3 other people in the ring when that happened. I'm sure they would have preferred like some sell on the pile driver, but it being like the first time I was in a wrestling show, I'm like, get out of the ring, get out of the ring.
Oh dear. So I want to take a few steps back as well. So how did you obviously get into wrestling as a whole? And I'm talking more from obviously from a fan point of view.
Uh, I got hired to do a wrestling match, custom private wrestling match. And then I was told, like, oh, you're pretty good at this. I'm like, okay, well, I liked it. I had fun. I wouldn't mind doing more of it. And it just turned out that the fans liked it too. They like seeing me wrestle. So they like seeing me wrestle. I like wrestling. They can tell that I enjoy wrestling. So I guess it's kind of like it became sort of like my fans telling me what I already liked. Like, hey, we like it when you do wrestling. And I'm like, oh, probably because I like it when I do wrestling, and they can see that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to say back obviously to the Kill City Cup. For people listening, obviously in the UK, obviously not many people seen the Kill City Cup. How would you describe Mr. Kill?
Mr. Kill is a wacky CEO type character. We are introduced, he is the first voice we hear as soon as Kill City Cup starts. And he's bragging about his global domination. Like, he is in charge. Everybody has to listen to him. He's Killcore is a global corporation and he's on top. But at the same time, Mr. Kill is kind. At least he's like, that's the way he's trying to play it. Like, he's tired of everyone bitching and moaning and boo-hoos. So he offers the citizens of Kill City Cup he offers the citizens of Kill City to participate in Kill City Cup, America's most badass tournament, for the opportunity to ask a favor of Mr. Kill. So those that believe that he will actually, honor that, have entered the tournament to try to get what they want. They all have their own motives, they have their own interests, and they're hoping that with Mr. Kill's assistance that they'll be able to get a little head on their endeavors.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, there's obviously a good range of characters. Obviously, in the tournament value, obviously, you got your Nitap Markova, you got your Cyborg Brian Cage, you've got a Monk as well. There's probably a few more I forgot as well.
Yeah, Mason X is a really popular character. Leon of the Wasteland. I hope to see more of him since he does seem to be involved in creating the cyborgs and some of the characters that we see in Kill City.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, what's a typical day for the Queen? I'm just going to throw a random question out there, by the way.
Well, the Queen Gia will, of course, emerge from her queen size bed with she's got a stable of servants, several beautiful men, and I guess that it will start with one of them serving me a tea. Um, and then I have one draw me a bath. It'll just be like a day to day. Only I'm not doing any work, and everything is being handed to me. Like my breakfast is being handed to me. Like my crystal ball, so I could see the news. My toast buttered in front of me. Like everything is just done for me, and I don't really have to say anything.
Is that good? Is that is
Yeah.
that is that that's a good little day for you, then, isn't it? You don't have to do absolutely anything.
No. I've already I like part of the Queen Gia power, since I would say that she's probably some kind of like sorceress type character. Then she uses her powers to enslave, so she can be served because she loves being served.
Maybe you're in control of Mr. Kill and people don't realize it.
Yeah, see, you're catching on. You're a little more observant than everybody else. Like, why is
Yes, I've
she
watched.
standing behind them the whole time?
Exactly. Power of the mind. Mind's a
Mhm.
powerful thing, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So obviously we're filming. Was there any stressful moments where you're like, I'm stressing out?
Not me particularly. It was a long day of shooting, but like I said, I was up there kind of segregated from a majority of the cast. So we were on that second level. Me, Brian, and Luke was up there shooting every once in a while. He had a camera looking down at the ring. So I spent a lot of my time up there and just kind of scheming or standing behind Mr. Kill, looking menacing, like what is she up to? What's her part in all this?
And what is your part on all this? Are you gonna spill the beans on that, or is that we're gonna have to
Oh,
wait
it
and see?
hasn't been decided yet, but we're in talks of Queen Gia running the next cup.
I already said that earlier on. I said it in the comments.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
That's what
very
we think's
observant.
gonna happen.
That kind of brings me over on to a next point, actually. So, what's the next step for this? Is it going to be a Kill City Cup 2? Is obviously we're going to have a documentary, which I do believe that's in the pipeline.
Yes, the documentary will be coming out shortly. I believe he said in like next couple of weeks. So we should see the documentary coming out soon. And there will be more Kill City Cup. Like it doesn't end here. There will be more. We just don't know when. And that's kind of one of the fun things about this production, at least for me. It's wacky, it's up in the air, and it's so collaborative. It's very much like creative input from everywhere coming together and being like, look what I made. Now go watch it.
Yeah, definitely. Again, obviously, I'm referring back to obviously the All Life in Wrestling thing because Luke did say that you obviously played a big part in obviously making the Kill City Cup.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said that obviously earlier on, obviously Luke obviously spoke highly about yourself because obviously you played a big part and obviously with it with like the creative side.
Yeah, I guess like many times just talking about it, I didn't think that I contributed that much to it creatively, but I guess yes, I kind of did. The whole set came together because he would share his ideas, and I'm like, hey, look, my buddy's selling all this stuff. It sounds like the Kill City Cup, like it sounds like the stuff that you want to film. So he bought it, and we put the set together. Brian actually knew how to put the set together. He's the one that originally built it. So Brian, on top of the fact that he's an amazing out there performer, is also a great contractor and built the entire set and put it together inside the warehouse. And we all put lights and fog and strung up all kinds of fun designs for it, making it look more post-apocalyptic, underground wrestling type area.
Yeah, definitely. What's some of your obviously highlights from obviously the filming? What's some like things you like go, I like that?
There was that moment. Well, this wasn't actually in the movie, but there was that moment where Natalia Markova just bounced right off the table. I don't know if you saw that one, but that one made its
Yep.
rounds on the internet, got viral a few times. She said that the table didn't need to be rigged and that she'd go through it just fine, and she did not. She literally bounced like a ball right off the table.
I think what made that worse as well is there was no like music out. We just literally, and you could hear it. It's like, oh, it's
yeah. Yeah, you
terrible.
can hear like everyone that, oh, we thought she died. Everyone rushed to her like, are you okay? She's like, I'm fine. 100% fine.
If I remember rightly, she tried grabbing the ropes as well, trying to stop a fall.
Yes, she tried to grab the ropes on the way down, like, protect herself. And then she turned out just fine. That girl could take like watching Kill City Cup, you're just like watching Natalia and Brian back and forth, and the way he tosses her around. Like he literally bicep curls her and then throws her over his head, and she just takes it. The amount of bumps that Natalia takes over and over and over again, and then just gets up and moves around like a snake in the ring. It's like, whoa, so good.
It's really, really good. It's absolutely. Do you know what? I've got a clip obviously to show, so I'm going to let you obviously talk about it, why people should watch the Kill City Cup, and I'll play the little short video we've got.
Yes, please.
Okay, here we go. So here's the Kill City Cup.
Welcome to the Kill City Cup.
I don't know why, but that last statement always makes me smile.
It's literally how it starts. It's so good. It's like that's the first line. All right, I'm in. He's got the world by the balls. All right, tell me more.
Now, surprisingly, people might not know this, but this is not the original record. Obviously, filming. Obviously, there was some brouhaha. I don't know obviously all the details about that, but this is not the first original, if I remember rightly.
First teaser trailer?
No, like the first. There's obviously another like one out there with different people in.
This is the only rendition of Kill City Cup that's out there. Like, there's more footage, but it's not released.
I want about the one with Teddy.
Yeah, that's the stuff. That's the stuff that's not released. The stuff that might be too hot to release.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have to go into specifics, but no, I absolutely love it. I mean, there's so many good things in about it. I mean, when you mentioned the fog thing there, when I was watching the video, I'm like, oh my God, I did not even see that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So, obviously, you yourself, have you got any more projects like this in the pipeline? Not obviously Kill City, I'm on about in general.
I'm trying to get involved in more horror films. It's been a while since I've done a horror film. A lot of the acting stuff, it, it doesn't pay very well, and I want to be doing like performance type stuff. And I feel like I gotta do a lot of the extra work or like working as an extra before I start seeing like more
Mhm.
opportunities in that field. It's definitely something I want to jump into, and I've added myself to a few of the acting groups in the local area to see if I could start applying for some stuff. Like, hey, do you want a mom for something? Here I am. But as
And
far
what
as like actual projects that I'm currently working on, nothing outside of like funny little TikToks and reels that I'll make here and there. And whenever we decide to film something for Kill City Cop, or we'll probably see me at a wrestling show. More than likely, we'll see me at a wrestling show before we see me at a, you know, some other movie or another show.
and what's your favorite horror movie?
Ooh, that's a good question. Hmm. Would you say that Pan's Labyrinth is a horror movie? It's kind of horror, but not really. Um,
When
I
I think of horror,
like
I think
Ghost Ship a lot. Is that a weird one to like?
no, not at all. I mean, you already said like the first question. You said you were a weirdo, so
Yeah. I think it was like that intro to Ghost Ship where that cable just slices everybody in half, and then they haven't really realized what happened, and then they're like trying to put their guts back together. I'm like, whoa, that's messed up, but also
I'm,
really original. I like that could never happen in real life. Like it would have to be like a blade before it could cut everybody else in half like that. But I thought it was a really sick scene.
I actually remember watching that movie as a whole, and I didn't know what to expect. And I think you're right; it is a really, really good movie.
I think I specifically remember just like that scene and not so much like the rest of the movie being fantastic. It's just like that scene just really grabbed me because it was different from the things. Like it feels like a lot of the horror movies that are coming out just lean so heavily on jump scares that we're not getting like an actual creepy tale. I liked Mama a lot too, the Guillermo del Toro one. That one was really well done. Oh, and
Yeah,
Babadook. Babadook like creeped me out.
there's quite a few obviously horrors out there, and you kind of on point when you said like the jump scare type thing because obviously Saw's coming out end of the month, and that does obviously play obviously on jump scares as well.
Right.
So yeah, I think you've kind of really on point there. Um, so obviously we'll wind down a little bit because obviously I've asked most of my questions. The one final question I want to ask you is, why should people go watch the Kill City Cup?
Because if you never thought that you could like pro wrestling, this is the show that'll make you like pro wrestling. Because it's not like any pro wrestling that you've ever seen. And I know that because I've been around WWE and Impact, and it never grabbed me, and I couldn't figure out why. And then Lucha Underground existed, and I'm like, that's why, because I want my wrestling to be fantastical. I want it to be costume heavy. I want these characters to be characters. Like if you were to make a character in an RPG, or I guess I the way that I had described it to Luke, because if you think about a wrestler, they're literally live action role playing. So I would tell him all the time, I'm like, you're technically a LARPer. And he's like, what the hell is that? And I'm like, those people that dress up in medieval and then beat each other with foam? You do the same thing, but in a wrestling ring. And that just kind of like blew his mind. And he's like, oh my God, I'm a LARPer. Holy crap, I'm a LARPer. I was like, it's okay, buddy. We're all nerds here. It's like, it's all like the same realm of people. Like, you like wrestling, you like anime, you probably do some LARPing. Like, they're like, it's all around the same pool of people.
That's the
So
best
that's
definition of
definitely
wrestling
why
ever.
it's worth watching because it's got something for everyone. That you like horror, it's got comedy, it's campy, it's got really good wrestling. So for those that are like, oh, I'm skeptical because I'm a real wrestling fan, like Brian Cage, Matt Sydal / Evan Bourne, Jimmy Jacobs, Natalia Markova. And if you haven't heard of her, like look her up. She's probably one of the best female pro wrestlers right now.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Give it a look. KillCityCup.com. Free, just an hour.
There you go. So that kind of brings me obviously to my question again. Where could people find the Kill City Cup? You've obviously mentioned Kill City Cup, KillCityCup.com.
Yeah, KillCityCup.com, or you pop on the YouTube where it lives and type in KillCityCup.com or Kill City Cup. It'll come up. But you know, if you can't remember that it's on YouTube, just KillCityCup.com and it's on there and it'll take you to the YouTube, or you can just Google Kill City Cup and that'll take you to like the Instagram or the Twitter, and then that'll take you to the YouTube. So as long as you remember those 3 words, Kill City Cup, you'll find it.
Or it's also in the description of this video.
There it is.
So there's 4 ways to obviously check the Kill City Cup. I've obviously watched it myself, and all I got told was just check this out. And immediately, as soon as I watched it, I'm like, this is different. It's exciting. There's something for everybody. And as you mentioned there, there's horror. There's something for everybody. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the fair assumption.
I agree.
I agree totally as well. So this has been actually really, really fun. So obviously, it's only been half an hour, but where can people obviously find you yourself?
GiaLove.com. That'll be front page. It's like on all links, or like a link tree, but it's called a beacon. So and it's got my Instagram, my Twitter, my TikTok, my YouTube, my entire online existence is on GiaLove.com. But you'll find me talking about Kill City Cup mostly on my Instagram. Pay Queen Gia Love.
There you go. There you go. So, obviously, what we've got planned for the rest of the week, Wrestling with the Paranormal is on Monday. This, obviously, interview will obviously be live on Tuesday. Dynamite after that will be on Wednesday. I've got another interview again on Thursday. Paranormal again's back Friday. Jesus Christ, I can remember all this. Magical Wrestling back again Saturday. And, of course, the All Left in Wrestling show on Sunday. We've got loads of stuff. I need 5 minutes. Yeah, love, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Do you want any final words before we go to the outro?
Thank you so much, Liam. And for those of you that are still on edge, just watch it. Your queen commands you to watch Kill City Cup.
Thank you so much.